Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 1, Episode 9. Without further ado, let's just jump on into it. We start off the episode with Jen. She is at home in her bed talking to her second assistant, and they are going over the details for her husband Shareiff's birthday party. Jen is super excited. Shareiff has no idea that she's throwing him a surprise party with a few hundred of his closest friends. She talks about how the theme for his party is hip-hop and golfing because he loves both. Shareiff thinks that they are going to be doing a date night for his birthday. And she's like, I just really hope that he doesn't figure it out. And so she's just going on and on. Then she FaceTimes Whitney and she's letting Whitney know all the details about Shareiff's birthday party. Whitney's excited. She can't wait to attend. And Jen then drops, I guess, the little bomb that Mary is not invited to this party. She doesn't want any drama. She says that it's no, ill will towards Mary, but she just doesn't feel Mary like that. They're not friends, but they don't hate each other, but she just does not want Mary in her space, and I get that. So now in the next scene, who should we see? It is Miss Mary quite contrary. Before we get on into this scene though, a lot of you guys have made mention of the fact that Mary wasn't in the last few episodes. Well, I have some tea, and I told a few of you guys too in the comments as well, but the reason why Mary was not in the past few episodes was because she was allegedly fired halfway through filming for this season. And I was also told that when they realized that the rest of the storylines kind of involved her, then they knew they had to bring her back. So they rehired her. And that's how we're going to see Mary, throughout the rest of the season. So I just said, oh, very interesting. Now, again, I was told firsthand by a little birdie over on at Bravo, okay? So we see Mary and she is walking into one of her living rooms and she FaceTimes her granddaddy husband, Robert Sr. And they're talking and he tells her that she looks nice and she's kind of like rebuffing his compliments. And then we find out that Robert is actually in Florida. He's taking care of their Florida home. So Mary lets us know in the confessional that when her grandmother died, her grandmother left her the entire empire. She left her multiple houses, a daycare, a mortgage company, just a whole bunch of stuff, multiple churches, just a whole plethora of money-making ventures, okay? So one of the producers asked Mary, well, how many homes do you have? And Mary's trying to act like she can't, remember the number of houses. And she's like, well, we have a house in Indiana. We have a house in Orlando. We have a house in Vegas. We have a house in New York. She was just naming cities all over. But enough about Mary and her empire that her grandmother left her. She lets Robert know that all the ladies have been invited to a party that Jen is throwing for her husband, except her. And Robert is like, don't pay that no mind. Like, you don't care anyway. It's nothing but jealousy. It's nothing but jealousy. And so, Mary's trying to laugh it off and agree with him. But then she starts crying. And Robert is like, don't cry. Like, stop crying over this, please. Like, I don't want to see you cry. Like, please. Like, these women are just jealous. It's nothing but stupidity. Like, don't let this get to you. Mary says that she's unhappy, and she then says that she just doesn't understand why Jen has so much disdain for her. I find Mary to be very fascinating in the sense that she claims that she does not care what people think about her, but then she's just really distraught that Jen does not like her. I mean, honestly, I would not care that much if I wasn't invited to Shareiff's birthday. Because if Jen did invite you, you probably would have turned down the invitation too. So it's like, honestly though, Mary does not strike me as a happy person anyway. So I wasn't really surprised to see that this really got to her, that Jen did not invite her. But it's like, you know Jen doesn't like you, sis. You don't like Jen. So I don't really understand these tears of, why doesn't she like me? Girl, there are going to be some folks in this life who just don't like you. And sometimes you're not going to have a reason of why they don't like you. They just don't like you. Girl, if you think I'm about to be crying because I wasn't invited to a party by somebody who doesn't even like me, please. Moving on, okay? So we get to the next scene, and it's Heather with her girls, and it's Valentine's Day. And so it was so cute. She had a little, some Valentine's, cupcakes, little treats, and they were all going to open their gifts. And then Heather says that their dad is coming over, her ex-husband, Billy. So Heather was saying that Billy proposed to her after 3 months of dating, and she said that he checked off all the boxes. He was Mormon, he was really rich, he was tall. So she was like, okay, check, check, check. He's the one. This is great. I found my soulmate. She said it was evident, though, when they got married that it was like, oh my gosh, we're not compatible at all. So she lets us know that Billy is just pretty much a weirdo. Billy's super conservative, super Mormon. She said that when they went to go see Scary Movie 3 or 4, he was really turned off by one of the sex scenes. So he got up in the middle of the theater and was like, we're going home. And she was like, no, we're going to stay and watch the movie. It's funny. And so she said that he ended up withholding sex from her. And I was like, oh girl, you married a straight up weirdo. Can I tell you something? When Heather was telling all the stories about Billy, I was like, girl, how are you crying about being divorced then? You dodged a bullet. Could you imagine spending the rest of your life with that man? He would have made your life hell. Heather reveals what the breaking point was when they decided to divorce. She said that it was, I think, the littlest girl's baptism. And he said, can you change the time because my sister or whoever is going to be late, so I need you to change the time of the baptism. And Heather was like, no, I'm not doing that. They need to figure it out. And so he said, well, if you don't change the time, I'm going to leave. And so she was like, are you serious? And so he left. He packed up his bags and filed for divorce. I was like, because she wouldn't change the time for her daughter's baptism? Are you kidding me? A mess. So anyhow, Billy comes over to open up the girls' presents with them, and they got diamond earrings. One got I think a diamond necklace, really nice gifts. And so he gave them flowers and teddy bears, and he's trying to make small talk with Heather. And it was so funny because he was asking Heather, oh, Heather, what are your Valentine's Day plans? You have a Valentine's? And Heather was having some fun with him. She's like, yeah, I have 3 Valentines. I don't know where we're going. I don't know who I'm going to choose. And his face got so tight. I said, Heather, I know that's right. I said, you better make him jealous. The girls were joking about how he's so conservative that he would just die if they had a tattoo. And so he was like, wait, do any of you guys have tattoos? And the oldest girl was like, yeah, I have a tattoo actually, Dad. And then he was like, what? And then Heather was like, yeah, she has a tattoo right here that says Dad. And they all start breaking out laughing. I said, I like Heather a lot. She has a really good sense of humor. Heather, girl, I had no idea that I was going to end up warming up to you. But that scene was just really funny. So now we move on to the next scene, and it is Mary again. And who should be coming over to pay her a visit? And it's Whitney. Whitney comes over, and it was so weird because Mary takes her to her closet, and she's like, yeah, every room in my house is for my clothes. And you see Mary's clothes and shoes and bag just all over the place. And it was kind of giving me hoarders, but make it rich. So Whitney was kind of looking like, girl, I think Mary has a problem. You can't fit all of your clothes, bags, and shoes in a 20,000 square foot home. You have a problem. So Mary is talking about how she gets her fashion sense from her grandma and how she's always loved clothes. And here comes the name dropping again. And she's like, I just love my pants because they're Dolce & Gabbana. And I just love this blouse because it's Valentino. I just love these shoes because it's YSL. And I just love this hat. And I just love this fur because it's from Neiman Marcus. And it's like, when I tell you Mary's self-esteem is based on her designer clothes. Don't get me wrong, I love designer. I'm not gonna hold you. I try to keep, I guess you could say, my materialism in check so that I'm not overly consumed by it. And so I also don't feel like I need it to base my self-esteem on. You get what I'm saying? Mary's one of those people who cannot get out of the bed in the morning unless she knows that she has designer pieces in her closet. Mary's self-worth, her self-esteem, her whole personhood is based on having designer. But again, we are not here to dissect Mary and her whole being, okay? So let me just move on with this scene. Whitney and Mary end up discussing Jen. Mary lets it be known that she's upset with them because she feels like they don't have her back in the whole Mary versus Jen feud. And she says to Whitney, it hurts my feelings because I feel like if it were the other way around, I would have your back. I would stick up for you and you guys don't do the same for me. Then Mary goes on to say that she's actually spoken to Lisa and Meredith on the phone and they have told her that they are both afraid of Jen. That scene pretty much ends with Whitney just agreeing with what Mary is saying about them being afraid of Jen and how they do need to stick up for Mary. So now we move on to Meredith, and of course, we can never just get a scene with Meredith. It always has to be a Meredith and Brooks production. Meredith and Seth are home, and it was cute. They were flirting with each other, and they're also talking about what should they order for dinner. Brooks, of course, is right there behind them, and he's like, can you guys stop flirting? It's really disgusting. Let me tell you something. I have never seen any Housewives kids be on in every single scene with their mom the way that Brooks has been in every single scene with Meredith. I was like, I don't understand why Brooks feels the need to be in every single scene, always making a snide remark. It's so aggravating. And then him, when they finally had dinner, they're sitting down to eat, and he's like, if you guys are going to have sex tonight, like, can you go in another room? Because, like, I don't want to hear it. The sound, carries on over to my room. Like, that was just so annoying to me. Like, I know that people can say, oh, well, he's just being funny. He's being sarcastic. It's like, sometimes it's just not funny. It's just annoying. And that's annoying to me when I see kids act like it's disgusting when their parents kiss or hug or talk about sex in front of them. You don't have to listen to it if you're so grossed out by it. Like, how do you think you got here? Like, your parents aren't these, like, non-sexual beings. Like, your parents like sex just as much as anybody else does. Like, you would be annoyed if your parents were like, oh, you having sex? That's disgusting. Like, you would be upset if they said that to you. So why are you doing that to them? Like, I know that it's so silly, but, like, it just gets on my nerves when I see that. I think it's just so rude to do that when you see, like, your parents are embracing or having a moment. Like, they can do that. I don't know. I find him very annoying. I was just irritated by that whole entire scene. Like, Meredith is just trying to make fetch happen with her son, and it's just not going to happen. And season 2, I do not want to see him on my screen anymore. I'm so sick of it. He comes in with that annoying voice, that annoying demeanor. Like, he's just not that kid. He's just not. And I'm personally sick of it. But I digress. Let's just move on to the next scene. So we see it is the day of the big party for Shareiff. All the ladies are getting ready. Meredith's getting her hair and makeup done. Whitney's getting her hair and makeup done. Heather, Jen is getting her hair and makeup done. She's wearing a Beyonce-inspired outfit. You know what Beyonce wore to the Super Bowl in 2016 when she premiered Formation? She's wearing that. So it's cute. She looks good. And it was so funny because her and Shareiff get in the car and they are headed to the party. But Shareiff thinks that they're going to a restaurant. And then Jen fools him even more and is like, babe, we're actually going to Popeyes. And Shareiff is like, oh, like, okay, like, I don't know if you're joking, but, hey, that's cool. I can have a shrimp po' boy and a biscuit and some sides. Like, that's cool. So he's making jokes about how he's excited to go to Popeyes, and everybody is already there at the venue. And then Shareiff and Jen get there, and they're like, oh, surprise! He's really fooled. He's so happy. Shareiff's sister was there. It was just really cute. Everybody is getting it, okay? Having a good time. The food looked amazing. Drinks are flowing. The music's going. And since it's 90s hip-hop themed, it was really cute because then they had like a little dance battle. And so Shareiff is dancing and then he's battling Whitney and Jen. Whitney says, you did the absolute most. You were even doing too much on the dance floor. You almost hit somebody in the head because you want to do a handstand and do all that stuff. It was like, girl, rein it in. Like, it's not your party. I hate when people try to have moments at other people's parties. It's like, attention is great, don't get me wrong, but people who need the spotlight and they need to be center of attention at every single turn, it's annoying. I don't really care for Lisa, but Lisa hit the nail on the head when she was like, okay, girl, like, sit down with that middle school choreographed dance number that you just did and have been waiting to bust out. So they're still dancing, just having a really good time. And Whitney pulls Heather to the side and lets her know that she and Mary had a conversation and she wants to address it with Jen. So Whitney and Heather go up to Jen, like, hey, Jen, can we talk for a few minutes? Whitney is stammering and stuttering for a good 5 minutes. Finally, Heather is like, girl, the other ladies said they're afraid of you there. Jen is like, wait, what? So then Whitney's like, yeah, I was talking to Mary, and Mary told me that Lisa and Meredith told her that they're actually afraid of you. So now Jen is getting annoyed because also the way that Whitney did it, she was building up so much suspense that when you do that to somebody, of course a person is like, girl, spit it out. Like, what do you have to say? Like, what is it? Like, you're already aggravated when somebody just can't get to the point. So then Lisa and Meredith sense that something's going on because Lisa was like, wait, is Jen yelling? So they go on over there, and so Jen is mad. So then Jen is like, Whitney just told me that y'all were saying to Mary that y'all are afraid of me. Like, what the F is that about? So then Meredith is like, girl, I've never had a conversation of importance with Mary at all. That's a bold-faced lie. I'm not afraid of you. So Lisa's like, girl, I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm not afraid of you at all. I'm not afraid of any of y'all in this group. So F what you heard. Like, I ain't afraid of none of y'all ladies. So then Whitney pulls Meredith to the side, and Meredith is like annoyed, and so Meredith is like, girl, I never had any conversation with Mary about the sort. Like, this is a bold-faced lie, girl. So then Whitney brings up the fact that Jen has been going around town talking about her marriage with Seth and their separation. Meredith is getting really annoyed, and she's like, girl, I'm about to disengage from this whole conversation. Like, I'm just really pissed off. Like, Jen need to worry about her own situation with her husband because he's never home instead of worrying about mine. So now Meredith wants to leave the party. She's just aggravated. So then Jen is like, Meredith, like, what's going on? Whitney comes back, and then Whitney's like, Jen, I also told Meredith how you've been going around talking about Meredith and Seth's separation, marriage, and all that. Jen is just pissed, and she is so pissed at Whitney, and so she slams her drink, and she's just like cursing, flipping the F out. Shareiff and her son see it. The whole party's watching Jen just flip out, and Shareiff is like, baby, what's going on? She's like, let's go, let's leave. I'm over this. These bitches sitting up here talking about me to Mary. Like, she's just pissed off. So you see Shareiff and Jen leave the party, and Come to find out, Shareiff actually stays for the rest of his party. It's Jen who is sent home. Let me tell you something right now. That party looked like it cost Jen a cute 20, 30, I'll even say 40,000. There is no way I would have left my own party. Whitney would have been escorted out. I'm not leaving my own party because of some BS, especially not a party for my husband that I never see. Jen, I completely understand your anger and I understand you being really pissed off, but I think that you overreacted just a little bit. When I say the overreaction, you should have just said to Whitney, Whitney, you done pissed me off. I want you out of here. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Let's talk about this another time. When you saw that Whitney was coming to you with some BS, you should have shut it down immediately and said, Whitney, I'm not doing this right now. This is my husband's party. We're not doing this. I was really upset that you lost it and that you threw the drink and then, you just went crazy and then you lashed out and then left your own party. Whitney, I gotta get on you now. What you did was so messed up on so many levels. You pride yourself on being so level-headed and having some good sense. What I saw was absolute ignorance at what you did. And then for you to sit up there and turn around and tell Meredith what Jen's been saying about her marriage to Seth, that was not the time or the place for you to do that. To do that at somebody's party when you know that they don't really see their husband like that, that was just so messed up. That could have waited. In the same way that you didn't like it when Jen brought drama to your 1920s party, that was really messed up of you to bring this to Jen on the night of her party for her husband. You could have told Jen this the day before. You could have told Jen this the day after, next week. But for you to choose to do it at the night of her husband's party was so messed up to me. That was very petty of you. That was very immature of you. That has me looking at you with a side eye like, girl, are you trying to stir up mess on purpose? Because you went from, I'm not choosing sides between Jen and Mary, to all of a sudden now you're advocating on Mary's behalf. You might not like Jen. Jen can be very aggravating. I'm not denying that. She does do too much. I've said it many times before. It's annoying to watch. But in this instance, I did understand her anger because I would have been pissed too. Like, why are you bringing this to me right now? You could have brought this to me any other time, but to bring it to me now, that's not cool to me. This was a very good episode. I got my life. I'm looking forward to next week's episode too because I see that Jen and Whitney go at it. Jen is just really pissed off at the fact that Whitney ruined her husband's party. But child, you already know what to do. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.